Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. I have a lot of special stuff planned for today, and it's a night session. It's nighttime. Let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? Here we are, another practice log. I do have some interesting stuff planned for today, so we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty sure this one will be titled a little bit differently. It's still a practice log, obviously. We will be practicing tonight. Well, first, let me talk about what I'm going to do before all that. It's nighttime. That means we're going to work on Morel. We're going to work on the Morel Sonatina. Working on all three movements right now. I'm going to try to put some work into that second movement. First and third are coming along. It's mainly just memory for that. I have a right hand fingering thing in the first movement that I need to work on. So, we're just going to hammer that in, see where we end up. I've been taking this time to answer comment questions, so let's take a look at the comment section. But let me actually first address what I'm going to be doing in the middle. So usually I watch a video, but since making my dynamics video, I realized that I'm using like a lot of jargon, a lot of musical jargon that maybe some of you don't get. And I feel like it's a pretty common thing with guitarists and a lot of instrumentalists actually. They don't know music theory. They just never learn their music theory. It's kind of a thing I find that people are like prideful of not knowing their theory. They're like, I don't need my theory, or like it makes you like uncreative or whatever. And that's especially the case for my dynamics lesson, because for that I'm mainly using music theory as cues for dynamics, which I think is a pretty helpful foundation for your dynamics, is to know what's going on harmonically and base your dynamics off of that. I have realized since that probably not all of you know what I'm talking about when I say it's going like tonic to the subdominant to the dominant and all that, because you don't really need to know that to like read black dots on a page and play it on your instrument. You don't need to know the functional relationship between all the notes. So I think it'll be a pretty good idea. Maybe we'll just start going through that. We're just going to start with musictheory.net and just tackle all the lessons systematically. We're just going to do the whole thing. And I'm going to do you one better. We're going to do the whole thing. And I'm sure a lot of you have tried going to musictheory.net and you kind of skim the beginning and then like move on to the hard stuff, and then it's too hard way too fast, and then you give up and you're like, screw this, how do I apply this? I'm not only going to go through it, I'm not going to skim it, I'm going to make us learn all the baby stuff first, and I'm going to apply it to our instrument. I'm going to show you how you can maybe improvise with it. We're going to play examples, and we're also going to apply it to our music. We're going to be thorough with this. So my goal by the end of finishing our journey on musictheory.net is that you will kind of have an insight into what I'm thinking about, and you'll be able to use these concepts and apply them to your own playing, maybe through improv and maybe through the pieces that you're learning, because that's really what theory is all about for me. I learn theory so I can use it to make music, if that makes sense. That's why I find theory so exciting. Let's go on this journey. I'll guide us. Sound good to you? We're not doing that yet though. We have to practice first. Maybe I can look at a comment question. Okay, well how about this? This is a softball. So there's somebody named Bugman. Hey, what's up, Bugman? How's it going? And you've asked a couple of questions, and I promised that I would answer all of them at some point. So, now is a good time for that. Your first question: are some giraffes taller than some trees, and are some trees taller than some giraffes? So the key to that question is you said some. To that, I have to answer yes and yes. There are some giraffes that are taller than some trees, while some trees are also taller than some giraffes. I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page on that. I can explain my reasoning further, but I don't think I need to. Alright, this one's about Bugman's webbed hands. I find that sometimes the inside webbing part near my thumb gets swollen and sore, kind of lower down where the muscle is. What do you think could be causing that? Thank you. My hands are also sore, lol. If you got sore hands, that's like, yeah, man. But if your hands are sore, that's no good. We don't want that. I asked which hand it is, because if it's your left, like maybe you're rubbing against the neck like that. But it seems that you said, yes, it's your left, and you keep your fingers parallel to the board, and you don't think your thumb is rubbing. I would double check, make sure you're not like doing that right there. You're not Eric Clapton, bro. Don't be doing that. I don't know if you're playing electric or not, but if you're playing classical, open that hand up. The only thing that should be touching the guitar is your thumb and then the tips of your fingers, and that's pretty much it. But it seems that you're doing that, which is very odd. It's almost like the part of my palm between my thumb and pointer finger. Yeah, that right there. I mean, that's what would be rubbing if that were happening, right? It actually hurts pretty bad when it happens. I don't know, maybe I just have too much tension. It sounds like a skin issue. Like, maybe you're allergic to nickel or something. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever tried putting cortisone cream on it or something, like some sort of steroid cream, and see what happens? You might have like eczema. Like, I'm not a doctor, I'm so not a doctor, but you might have like eczema or some skin condition. Maybe the finish on your guitar, like when you touch it, it just like irritates your skin. I had a super weird hand condition for like 2 years where I had painful bumps that appeared on my palms. Like, it was really, really bizarre. And they hurt, and they felt like little needles when I touched them. I'll throw up a picture. I hope you're not eating, but I'm gonna throw a picture up. But that's what my hands used to look like. I applied cortisone cream, a steroid cream, once. One singular time. And it went away completely, and now my hands are completely normal again. I mean, maybe that's happening to you. And if you try the cortisone cream and it helps, don't keep using it. That steroid cream, your skin gets like reliant on it, and it can weaken your skin. There are horror stories of people who use cortisone cream and they use it for like a year. It just swells up and it gets all disgusting. As a one-time treatment, cortisone cream is great. So those are your main questions. Maybe post a little more about your hand issue, because I do care. I care about all of you. I care about you, Bugman. I want your hands to be okay, because I want you to practice. Alright, well, that covers that. So, let's go ahead and get to the practicing part, shall we? Alright, we're gonna see if I can get that Morel first movement solid, smooth. I will see you on the other side. Okay, I think I'm about ready to play for you. Why don't you come on over? Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play the first movement of the Morel Sonatina from memory with the new fingering in the beginning. We'll see how that goes. It's still not completely comfy, but it should be alright. Here we go, movement 1. So you saw the new fingerings I was doing there with that big diminished chord that's in the first page. Pretty cool stuff, right? I've been working with that for like only a few days. And I changed it again today, actually. I'm not going to say how because it doesn't matter. I think that fingering is really promising. I can get everything up to tempo with that fingering. So I feel pretty good with that. Alright, well, like foreshadowed in the title and in the beginning, I have a surprise. A music theory surprise. Whoa! Let's jump into it. Alright guys, here we are. At the computer. We're going to be taking a pilgrimage over to musictheory.net, and we're going to learn some stuff. Oh, they have exercises too, but we're going to start with the lessons, and we're just going to kind of riff on that. So before we really dig into it, we need to understand that we have some terms, and we should go ahead and define them. And we have certain things that we're going to use. So let's start in the very beginning. We have this thing. You've probably seen this before. This is the staff. This is the thing that we're reading music on. Okay. It is the foundation upon which notes are drawn. Apt description. So for a while, this is all music theory for babies right here. We're actually pre-music theory. Right now, we're just defining stuff. 5 lines, 4 spaces. Treble clef. That's our jam right there. Otherwise known as the G clef, because that little circle right there, the line that it surrounds, that's a G. The G line. You can remember all these lines. Every good boy deserves fudge. There we go. Every, that's E, good boy deserves fudge. Those are the lines. All right, we got that? First, we'll discuss the treble clef. That's right, we will. First and foremost, we got a note there. We don't know what kind of note it is yet, but that's a G. Sounds like that. A, B, C, D. Whoa, all right, you went all the way through there. I'll go ahead and play that. We got a nice G Mixolydian scale there. We'll learn what Mixolydian is at some point. Don't worry about it now. That's for everybody who knows. If you know, you know. Whoa, question mark. What comes after that? Ledger lines. Ledger lines are the lines that you draw in when you want to play higher. Because you might have noticed when I played G there, I have way more guitar to play. Well, the next note will be A. I'm going up a particular distance there. We'll learn about that in a second. All right, bass clef, we're just gonna skip that entirely. You know, we might not want to skip it. So this might require a bit of homework going forward. You need to know what bass clef is. Good boys deserve fudge always. You can use that one for the lines. Yeah, I know. That's the sentence that you use in like first grade. We're using that though, okay? Because that's the speed that we're driving at. Finally, we discussed the grand staff. Boom, there it is. So we have our good boys do fine always, and then every good boy does fine. And when there's a ledger line in the bass clef, that is now traveling in to treble clef territory. That's how this works. They're joined by this note C. That's a C. If you do the math, you'll figure out that that ledger line is C. And we call that middle C because it's in the middle. Isn't that sweet? Alright, that was that module. Okay, so here are note durations. These are the notes that we put on the staff that we just learned about. Our purposes right now are more to learn about harmony and stuff. Like, this is more about, like, actually reading music, which we don't really need right now. We'll kind of learn this from context going forward. Steps and accidentals, this is important. Alright, I don't know what that is. What are you showing me right now? Show me something I can understand, please. Dang, that's looking good! There we go. Much better. I'm going to stop playing around because this is actually probably the most important thing right now. A half step is the distance from one key on the keyboard to the next. No. It's the distance from any one fret to the next fret. Okay? So a half step or a semitone, that's the smallest amount you can move while moving frets. Of course you can move less if you like bend the string a little bit. Those are called microtones. We're never going to deal with that. From here on out, I'm going to say that a semitone is the smallest amount you can move in music. I know that microtones exist, so don't even go there. This is to make things simple. So that's a semitone, or a half step, as I call them. I never call them semitones. Now, we have a half step. A whole step is 2 half steps. Play your guitar, pick any note, go 2 frets higher. That's a whole step. Play that note, play 1 fret higher. That's a half step. Those are your 2 building blocks. With that, we will create everything. All right, so what are all the notes that we have in music? And when I say that, I don't mean every single note. I mean just all the letters that we have in music. Well, let's start with A. That's our first one. Then we have B, C. Say it with me, D, E, F, G, and then A again. Did I get all that right? A, B, C, D, F, G, A. So why did I write A twice? Well, it's just to kind of complete things. It's to show you that that's where the repeat is. After A would be B again, and then C, and then D. And same goes on this side. What's before A? Well, look at this A. G is before that A, so G is also before that A. That's how this works. And this continues infinitely in either directions. I know. You can kind of think of it as like a circle, because we're going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats back. But it's also kind of like a spring where it goes like that. Because we have our A, and then it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we have this A, and it sounds higher than the last one, but it's still A. And here's what that sounds like. So we have A, and then B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So it's a spiral that goes infinitely in either directions. You can only hear a very small part of that infinite spiral though. And it's not really useful thinking past one A to the next A, because everything just repeats. Now, you might be thinking, this is kind of like a number system, like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's not, because in our number system, all the numbers are equal distance apart from each other. Here, these are not equal distance, and never think that they are. You will get burned if you think that. We already defined our thing. Half steps are 1 fret, whole steps are 2. Now, the only thing that you really need to remember, B, C, E, F, those are your 2 half steps. Because a whole step is 2 frets, if G is 0, which is our open string, A must be the 2nd fret. And then what's after A? B is after A. A is 2, which we established that it is over here because 0, 2. A to B must be 4 because it's a whole step, which is another 2. So 2, 4. And now B to C, that is a half step, 4, 5. So now B to C, that's C. These notes are not the same distance apart, but just try to remember that B, C, and E, F. And a way that you can remember that, your 2 open strings, E and B, those are your 2 half steps. Okay, now one more thing that we need to get from that. If A is 0, so we're talking about the open A string, B is going to be 2. All right, well, what's 1? 1 is going to be A sharp. Hashtag to the kids out there. Sharp just means to raise. So A sharp, that's 1. And then it can also be B flat. This one sound has 2 different names, and we call these 2 names inharmonic. So now our number system works out. So this is an A, B is there, and then A sharp and B flat is in between. Let's do one more. B to C, that's a half step, so 2, 3. So you might be wondering, does B sharp exist? B sharp does exist, and so does C flat. It's all about context. Sometimes they rear their head, so, you know, look out for that. And those are called accidentals. So we have 2 different kinds of notes. We have our natural notes there, those are the naturals, and then our accidentals. And as long as you remember the distances, what's in between those distances, you're gonna be all good. Okay, well, I think that pretty much covers all the basic stuff. I know that that was a lot. If you've never seen any of this might take a couple of passes to learn, but we're gonna need this for what we do going forward, because we are gonna go deep into this, because I think it'll be fun to do that. Not only will it be fun for you, because this is just kind of a place where we can systematically go through all this theory stuff, but it'll be good for me to kind of review everything too, because I've taken classes in every single topic here, and this covers all 4 semesters of music theory that I had to take in college. So it'll be fun to go into all this stuff again, and I will give it my guitar twist. All right, well, I think we can pretty much wrap this up. Let's go back to the piano bench and practice guitar. Alright, well, hopefully you enjoyed that, and we will be continuing this theory series, of course. Well, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, all that stuff, and if you have any questions about anything, be sure to leave a comment. If you don't have a question, you can just say hi, it's fine. Alright, well, it's time to wrap this thing up, so I'll see you tomorrow.